Hello you guys, it's been a while. I've been wanting to record more videos, but I feel like I've kind of been in an era of my life where I've just been out experiencing and really living and kind of like collecting field notes, if you will, to come back and report on. And I've honestly been going through it majorly for the last couple of months. Life has been so beautiful in so many ways, but I've also been struggling with my mental health more than I have in a really long time, and also new ways, new fun and exciting ways that I didn't even know was possible. So I've definitely been kind of in uncharted territory, which is surprising for me because I've been through a lot of really hard things. I started having panic attacks at the ripe age of 6 years old. So, you know, I had thought that for the most part, I kind of had a grasp on these things and how to handle these things. And, yeah, it's been quite humbling and enlightening to reach new depths of, mental despair. But actually, yeah, so I've just been going through it. And I wanted to record this video because I think it's important to talk about these things openly and share these things. And it's also kind of a special way for me to be able to see my progress in a really tangible way over time. I think it's important to share kind of when you're in the midst of things, because a lot of times I think people, or even myself, will want to wait until I get to the end. And once I'm healed or feeling more confident, it's a lot easier to share what you've learned. And I really think there's something to that, but I also think there's something really special about being like, this is where I'm at, this is happening currently, and this is how I'm finding my way out right now. So I kind of just wanted to just share where I'm at, even though I very much so feel like I'm still in the midst of a lot of muck. But yeah, okay, well, let's get into it. I have been experiencing a lot of, I guess, trauma resurface. I've been in a place in my life over the last couple of months where I've really been triggered a lot, and it's really felt like there's been a mirror that has just been reflecting to me all of the things that I hadn't healed. And I really didn't realize that there were so many things still underneath the surface, because I think when you don't have that mirror there, it's really easy to think like, okay, I've worked through this stuff, I've felt through this stuff, I feel over it, I feel like I'm in a good place mentally, I feel healthy. But then when somebody or a situation kind of comes into your life that you interact with intimately, it can reflect a lot of wounds back to you. And it really is so telling, the way that you interpret things, the way that you perceive things, the lens through which you perceive things, of where you're at mentally and emotionally. And I have just been really going through the ringer in terms of that, and really have been operating from a really like traumatized place. And like I said, I felt like I had healed through this. A lot of this is stemming from being cheated on in my last two relationships, but especially the last one was just really hurtful. And, you know, it was on and off for months, and I had felt like I had already kind of healed from it. And then I had found out that that person had been cheating on me. So that felt like another thing to have to process, but I was already kind of in the midst of getting over it. And I felt like I took the necessary time, but I think that, yeah, it wounded me a lot more than I realized, and scarred me a lot more than I realized. And so I have just been struggling with operating from these trauma responses, where in conversation with people or just interactions and situations, I have been responding in ways that like do not feel conscious whatsoever. Because if I was operating in a conscious way, I would be mindful, I would be patient, kind, calm within my nervous system, and feel regulated. I would probably ask more questions instead of just assuming the worst and getting super vindictive and intense and scary. Like, I have just been like getting triggered, and then just like seeing, like, it's like something like takes over me, and I just respond in these ways that are really unproportionate to whatever miscommunication or whatever situation arose. And I don't want to do that, because one, it's it's horrible to have to subject somebody to something that they don't deserve. It's like, okay, maybe there's a miscommunication, but why are you being so scary? Like, I don't want to do that to somebody, because I know that these reactions are not even necessarily from what's happening in front of me. It's kind of like residual feelings and this like bodily like assumption that I'm like in this past experience with this past person that really hurt me. And so it's not fair to subject somebody to these behaviors that like they don't deserve. And then on top of that, it's extremely draining to have my body in my mind go to this really intense place where I'm just assuming the worst, where I'm getting very worked up and so angry and so hurt. Like it sucks. I don't want to feel that way. And I've worked really, really hard in my life to be a positive person, to work on my emotional intelligence, to work on like, you know, like having hard conversations with people in a healthy and responsible way. So it's just been really difficult for me to come to terms with the fact that like I'm acting out in ways that I'm not proud of. And it's been very, very, very frustrating and very like, it's like taken a huge toll on my confidence and my self-esteem, because I just feel like I keep self-sabotaging. I keep acting out in these ways that I'm not proud of. And it's like, I could have my feelings hurt by something or miscommunication, but express that in a healthy way. And instead I'm just doing the most, and I'm being very scary and kind of mean, honestly. And it's so hard, because also in the moment it feels valid because I'm in this place where I just don't feel safe, but it's really like, that's not what's happening in the present moment. So yeah, I've not been feeling the best about myself because I've just been acting out in these ways and then feeling so much regret. Literally like 20 minutes later, I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? I'm so sorry. But it's been really, really difficult for me to catch it in the moment and self-soothe in the moment. It's like, I feel like I need to like tattoo across my arm in fucking bold font, like, calm the fuck down, take a deep breath. Like, please relax. And I try to like meditate and journal and do things, you know, go through my day slowly so that I can have a calm nervous system. But when these triggers take over, I just have not been standing a chance. I mean, I've gotten better here and there, but it's been really, really difficult. So that's been something that I've really been dealing with, and just a lot of frustration with myself because it just feels like I keep repeating it no matter how badly I like don't want to. And I also think that I just haven't seen this side of the coin in a while. Like, I, you know, dated somebody else that felt like they kept self-sabotaging, and I just wanted to shake them and be like, why can't you stop doing this? And I feel like the universe really does show you both sides of the coin, and I just haven't been challenged, I guess, in this way in quite a long time. So yeah, it's just been really difficult for me, and it's really made me just not feel the best about myself. But ultimately, you know, I return back to giving myself grace, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. I kind of just wanted to start with all the things I've been struggling with. So that's been a major one. And I will say that with the being challenged, it feels really, really difficult in the moment, but ultimately I know that this is like the best for me in the long run and the best for my highest good overall, because it's really granting me the opportunity to be able to heal and show up in ways that I actually am proud of and I want to. It can just feel really like overwhelming in the moment, and just like a lot to have to, I don't know, I guess just like process through and work on. It can just feel like really, really daunting and really hard because it's like a lot of unlearning. But ultimately, it is such a gift. It is really such a gift to be challenged. Like, nobody wants to be in a dynamic or just go through their life just scathing through, feeling comfortable and responding and reacting in the same ways that they always have. I mean, some people do choose to do that, but I am somebody that really does want to learn and grow. So no matter how hard it is or how intense it is, ultimately, I really am grateful for the opportunity to be able to look at myself and change things around, because I want to evolve. Okay, I just really want to be a healthy and happy version of myself for myself and for others. I think I also struggle with really deeply internalizing things too. So when I do mess up, I will be really, really hard on myself. It's like I will do something, you know, never malicious, but obviously none of us are perfect. So I'll do something, I'll maybe be a little mean or be a little intense or have a miscommunication or something. And when I go to apologize for this, the person will be like, it's okay, I totally understand, no worries. I will still sit there for like 2 days and feel like I'm the worst person in the world and feel like I'm not worthy of love, not worthy of any grace. And I will be so hard on myself, and I'll get in these really dark places mentally where I just feel like literally like the worst person in the world, and it's really hard for me to work through, and I usually have to like sleep, and then the next day or next 2 days I'll be feeling better and I'll be able to see the situation more clearly. But that really doesn't help. That mindset or whatever, you know, tweak in my brain that has made me operate that way really doesn't help. So you can imagine with all the times I felt like I've been messing up lately, that it's really taken a toll on me mentally. But I'm definitely unlearning that in therapy and learning how to apologize more casually, where I still mean it, obviously, and it's very sincere, but I don't gotta do all that. On top of that, I've also been dealing with a lot of weird compulsive behaviors lately, and I think they're all stemming from me not really trusting myself. And I've always had like a few of these, like with my alarms. Anybody that knows me knows I have like hundreds of alarms that I've set over many, many years, and I will compulsively set it, turn my phone off, go back, check, set it, I'll turn my volume on and off, because I'm always so scared I'm gonna sleep through my alarm and like miss something important or miss work. So that's always been something that takes like a good amount of time at night. Like I compulsively do it. I compulsively check my Instagram to make sure I haven't accidentally posted a weird picture of myself without realizing, but it's kind of it's broadened at this point, and I am doing some really weird things. Okay, you guys, I'm doing some really, really weird things where it's like, I know logically I already did this thing, but I will go back and check time and time and time again, and it feels very out of my control, and it feels like it's getting to the point where it's actually affecting my day, because I just, no matter how many times I tell my brain, you already double checked that, I have to go back and do it again, and it's weird shit, okay? It's getting weird. It's getting really weird. So that's been taking a toll on me as well. Another thing, you guys, we're really just gonna get into all of this. This is like triple homicide. Another thing I've really been dealing with lately that I had not experienced until maybe the last year or two is really strong PMDD symptoms. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm 99.9% sure that's what I'm experiencing. But it's weird because some months I don't have it, or at least I don't have it as strongly, and then other months it's horrible. So basically, from my understanding, PMDD is like a hormonal thing where you just exhibit like really, really strong, like almost PMS symptoms. Also, I might be totally wrong. I've only done a little bit of research on this, but it seems to check out. All I know is that like in the past, it would be like the day before I started my period, I would have the most off feeling day ever. Everything would just be weird and kind of go wrong, and I'd feel really anxious, and I'd be like, am I being weird, or are other people being weird? Like, why does every interaction feel just awkward? And then I would start my period the next morning, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that totally checks out, and I'd feel better. But now, lately, it's been starting, you know, further and further ahead of my period. So it will be like, I'll have that really awkward, anxious day and be like, okay, I'm gonna start my period tomorrow. And then I have another really awkward, anxious day. And then I have another one. And then I start my period. But now it's starting, you know, like a week before I start my period. And it's just like the worst week ever. And last month, I really, really was going through it in a way that I had never experienced, where it was actually very unfortunate because it started the day that my cousin came to visit me to spend like my birthday week with me. And so it was just a horrible coincidence that as soon as she got there, I just was like struggling so much mentally, and I was so on edge and just felt so anxious. But not only that, I really felt like a shell of myself. I felt so mentally fragile is what I kept telling her. Every little thing was affecting me so much, to the point where I felt like I could barely talk, like at work. Like I just felt so uncomfortable, so fragile, was really prone to crying, super emotional, really just on edge. Like I would come home from work and my cousin would be like, yes, you seem a little on edge. Like maybe we should just take an edible and have a really nice night. And I would be like, yes, thank you, let's do that. Like I was just having such a hard time, and I was exhausted, had really low energy, and I also, trigger warning, gonna talk about, I guess, like, sewer slide thoughts a little bit. I would never do anything to myself, ever, 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 ever. Just would not do that. But I had like a night or two where I was just feeling so dark. I wasn't having like, I don't know. I remember I was out with my cousin and friends to celebrate a friend's birthday, and I left the bar early because I just was not feeling good. And on the way home, I remember being like, wow, I understand why people could do that, because right now it feels like I'm so stuck in this mindset that I can't perceive things getting better, which is super crazy for me because I consider myself to be an extremely, extremely, extremely optimistic person. I literally took this optimism quiz and I sent it to like all of my friends and family because I was just curious. I got 85% optimistic, which was extremely optimistic, you guys. Like, I can always see the light at the end of the tunnel. I've always been somebody that's dealt with things in a way where it's like, okay, right now sucks, and I'm trying to observe what I'm going through, but I know that it's going to get better. If I can just have like a glimmer of hope that I can see a version of myself in the future that's healed through this, that's happier, that's more calm and stable, or more filled with peace, like I can get through this. And I've always been able to do that and just be like really hopeful that things are always going to get better. And they always have. But I just was in such a dark place that I was like, wow, I maybe understand why somebody would do that, because right now, like, I cannot even perceive a reality in which, like, this would improve. I felt in such a dark place, and I just was, I don't know, toying with these really dark thoughts, and I knew I wasn't going to do anything. And I was even, like, talking to my cousin. I was like, I'm feeling really cursed right now. Like, something really, really bad is happening. And we were definitely like finding the humor in it because it was just so insane. And it was so unfortunate too that it was like 2 days before my birthday. And I felt so anxious because I had a friend flying in to celebrate my birthday with me. My cousin flew in to celebrate my birthday with me. I had a lot of people coming, and I wanted to be able to be in a good mindset and be social and be able to like actually be a good friend and a good host and greet these people for my birthday and interact and catch up. And I just was feeling so in the dumpster mentally that I was so nervous. And I ended up starting my period the day of my birthday party, and I felt way calmer. And so it's always like, it leads up to my period, and then once I start my period, I'm actually feeling better. But yeah, so I've been dealing with that, and that's been ridiculously rough. I mean, like really, really, really hard. It's also just taking up more and more time during the month, which sucks because I feel like I only really get like a week out of the month, depending on my cycle, where I actually feel social and I feel like, I don't know, like in the right mental capacity to hang out with people. And I don't want my life to be that way. I love my friends, and it makes me so happy to be around people and to have plans. So I'm also trying to get better at like saying yes to things, even if I'm not maybe fully in the mood, because I just cannot let my like emotions dictate my life so strongly. But yeah, the PMDD stuff has been really rough. If you guys experience that or know anything about it, I would love to hear more, because like I said, I really haven't done that much research. I kind of just like looked at my symptoms and that's what came up, and I was like, yeah, that seems to make sense. But it's been gnarly, like unlike anything I've ever experienced. I haven't felt or experienced those dark of thoughts in a really, 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 really long time, like since I was a teenager maybe. So it's just been really heavy and has truly felt like just very uncharted territory, which is hard because like I said, I really like to use like what I've learned in the past to help me get through things, but I really feel like I'm in this new territory where I'm like, okay, I have to freshly figure out how to navigate this. Okay, my camera overheated, so I had to fix that. I feel like I've gone in depth enough about kind of what I've been experiencing, and I think you guys get the point. So I did want to end the video by saying that I have been very, very proactive in trying to combat all of this. I was able to finally get a therapist through my insurance, which has been a very exciting development for me. I went to therapy, starting at a very young age, when I was like 6 years old, when I started having really bad panic attacks. And then also again, when I was a teenager, when I found out my boyfriend had cheated on me and got the girl pregnant, I started therapy again when I was like, that was like 16. But I haven't gone back since then. So it's been over 10 years. And I don't know. I think it benefits everybody. I think that there's no harm, and I think it can really like help you to make connections and just be really cathartic to have somebody to talk to. And in my case, I really want to work through these trauma responses. I want to find ways to self-soothe. I want to really heal and let go from the hurt that's even causing these trauma responses, and just learn how to have a more regulated nervous system on a more regular basis. and learn how to apologize better and take accountability better. Like a lot of these things that are really simple and seem like they would come naturally, but that I'm realizing I never really learned. Like any ounce of emotional intelligence that you see within me has been learned on my own for the most part. I think my parents taught us to have really good manners, but in my family, like we would just yell and scream at each other and say the worst things to each other and then just like pretend like it didn't happen for a day and then just never talk about it again. Like we would just pretend like it didn't happen, and then I don't know, the next morning we'd be like fine and normal. So I didn't really learn how to like properly take accountability and apologize. And so those are all things that I want to learn, and I really want to hold myself accountable and obviously give myself so much grace, but I'm excited to have somebody in my life that can kind of like, yeah, just hold me accountable and maybe help me see things through a different lens. So I was able to finally get a therapist through my insurance. I have Kaiser, and it was honestly really hard. I really had to advocate for myself, and I also did a lot of research like online and on Reddit. I remember seeing that like, I don't know, they were like, they'll only really help you if they're trying to diagnose you with something and you have to call multiple times. So I had to keep calling and be like, hey, can I get an appointment with a psychiatrist? Like I'm struggling mentally and I want to take advantage of your guys' like mental health services and see if I can get a referral to a therapist. So definitely had to advocate for myself and had to like really explain in depth what my symptoms were and what I've been experiencing from a very young age. So I wrote out a lot of stuff, which was very helpful for me to reference so I didn't forget anything. And I was finally able to get a referral to a therapist. And it was actually really interesting because I was kind of going into this expecting like a ADHD diagnosis, because I feel like that's symptoms I've been struggling with for a lot of my life. And I've obviously always had general anxiety, like starting at a very, very young age. That's something that I knew. But after explaining a lot of my symptoms, the main thing the psychiatrist said was that I was experiencing or depicting a lot of OCD symptoms, which was really, really, really interesting to me because I guess that's just something I hadn't really thought about. There's other people in my life that I know that have way like stronger, I guess, OCD symptoms that maybe more stereotypical ones that I kind of thought like, okay, maybe they have that, but I never really considered that for myself. So that was really, really eye-opening. And initially, she wanted to refer me to NoCD, which is so interesting because I have heard of NoCD a lot from Nicole Raffi on YouTube because she has OCD and she partners with them a lot and she speaks very highly of it. And so I was like really excited. I was like, oh my God, like this is so not what I was expecting, but if this is going to help me, like this is amazing. And then I kind of started connecting dots and I'm like, you know what? That actually does check out a lot. And I've been struggling with just like a lot of really intense black and white thinking and kind of just thinking in extremes and just honestly, so many things, even stemming from childhood of like, I don't know. I felt so weird too, kind of explaining this to these people because I ended up having to have multiple appointments, but just like, I literally used to like have this man in my head that was like a game show man, and like if I were to even just throw something in the garbage, this game show man would show up and be like, if you miss this, your whole family's gonna die. And like everything had such high stakes, and that was at a very young age. And I remember telling my mom and my sister that recently, and my sister was like, oh my God, I had that too. So I don't know, it's definitely stuff that stemmed from when I was much younger, but I think also through the trauma I've experienced recently, it's made me way more hypervigilant in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, that was really enlightening. I ended up talking to another psychiatrist who I think that there was just like a miscommunication. Honestly, I don't really know, but I ended up getting a referral to Rula instead, which is like a more general, broad therapy. So basically they just have like listings, all these different therapists, and you can go in and you can filter like if you want them to be religious or not religious, or what kind of therapy, if you want like EMDR, or if you want talk therapy. There's also like, do you want a man or a woman? What do you want their specialties to be? So I was able to go in and really like be more specific about what I wanted. But it was really hard to choose somebody. It felt like a lot of pressure because there was multiple people that seemed really, really great. And it felt like a really big decision. But ultimately, I just had to like kind of go with my gut and just choose somebody that sounded good. And what really attracted me to this person is that she's been practicing for 14 years. So I feel like she definitely knows what she's doing and has had a lot of experience. And then she also mentioned that she likes to incorporate humor wherever possible, which I like to do that too. So I was like, okay, this feels good. And so far I've only had 2 sessions, but it's already been incredible. And I am just really, really excited about it. I feel like I'm already like, I don't know, realizing things and connecting things, and she's really helping me see things through a different perspective in regards to my childhood and how that connects to things now, which obviously a lot of us, you know, we know that at this point, that a lot of stuff from our childhood, but there's things I didn't even think of that she's kind of like enlightening me with. And yeah, we're just getting into it. It's only 2 sessions, so we haven't, you know, really gotten into like the healing modalities, because I think she's still just trying to get to know me and get a broad picture of things, which makes complete sense. But she told me that she feels very confident and excited that we can make really strong progress on these trauma responses and just on this healing journey in general. So I feel really, really good and excited about that. Another really interesting thing that I wanted to mention, but I'm not going to go too in depth about because it does feel like a very, very personal journey for me, is that I was also prescribed medication to help treat the anxiety and OCD symptoms. Which was really interesting to me. I've always been somebody that really likes to take the natural route, and you know, obviously I like to journal and go on walks and be in nature and do yoga and meditate, and those things really help me to stay calm. But it's like I will do those things and then an hour later feel very anxious again. I'm just somebody that's always dealt with like a lot of background anxiety, and so it's just been interesting for me to think about the ways that I've coped in my life and the, you know, ways of being that I've gotten really used to and really accustomed to. And I've just really been wondering, like, if I were to take this, could it actually be so much better than what I'm used to? Like, could this be a missing piece? Or like, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten used to just like managing, but maybe I could actually be thriving in certain ways. So I've also been dismantling like a lot of ideals that have really been programmed into me from, you know, certain communities that I engaged with for a really long time, a really big portion in like, I don't know, fundamental time in my life. And also, you know, a lot of my dad's ideals that he's like instilled with me since a very young age. And I've really, really, really had to think for myself and really think about what I want and what I feel is best and listen to my intuition. I also pulled cards on this, which I do when I'm faced with most, you know, big decisions in my life. And I felt pretty clear on what I want to do. I'm pretty sure I pulled the Page of Wands for any tarot girlies. But yeah, I've come to the decision that I do want to give it a try, and I do want to give it a full try, which means doing it for at least a month, because it does take that long for it to actually like work in your system and for your body to get used to it. So yeah, I am keeping like a log of what my symptoms are and how I'm feeling, and I'm gonna report back like after a month, and I'll do a more in-depth video about, you know, kind of what my past beliefs were and how I'm feeling now and how it's been affecting me. So I guess we will just have to see how it goes. But I'm excited. It's been really like just an interesting process for me. And it's so crazy how growth can sometimes look really different than what you might initially expect. And I have just learned time and time again in my life that like my identity has shifted so many times, and that's okay and actually really good. And I'm really glad that I've evolved and changed my opinions over time and tried new things. And, you know, like, I just feel like I've been so many different versions of myself, and I'm really proud of that. And I think that's actually kind of how it's supposed to be. As long as the core stuff, you know, stays the same. Yeah, it's been really interesting and honestly a bit disorienting, but I'm really, really excited. I just felt like I really wanted to share this and really be able to connect with anybody else that's been kind of going through similar, and also just kind of talk about what's been helping me. So the therapy definitely has been helping. I've also been putting a strong emphasis and like been prioritizing really hanging out with friends a lot, because that's something that I hadn't really done for the last couple of months. And I swear I hung out with more friends last week than I had like in the last year, which is really amazing. And it really like adds so much to my life and makes me feel so happy. So I've been doing that. I also re-downloaded ClassPass and have been getting back into moving my body more regularly. I've been taking Pilates classes and also doing yoga classes at the studio I used to have a membership at, and that makes me feel so good. It feels really, really good to just like stretch and move. It feels really helpful mentally. It feels like it, you know, if I'm feeling anxious about something, it kind of like shakes up the energy. And then obviously just feels good to like be nice to my body. My body deserves to be moved in the right ways. And I've been trying to get back into making more healthy meals and nourishing myself and eating things that actually give me energy. So yeah, I've just been trying to like implement more of the things that I know really help me. I've also been journaling more. I kind of fell out of that habit for a while. And even just the other morning, I woke up feeling so anxious and just bad, in a really bad headspace, kind of like that PMDD stuff again, where I really couldn't see outside of what I was experiencing, and I felt very hopeless. And I ended up journaling and just letting it all out, and then also like ending with like coming back to the realization that like these thoughts are not real. I really need to be like on top of like combating these thoughts and like remembering that I'm in control, and remembering that like what I'm feeling right now is actually false. Like I have been shown time and time again that things always do get better, and that I'm so loved and protected, and you guys are too. We all are. And so just really reminding myself not to give into that, and just kind of returning back to that positive lens again of being like, okay, this is really hard right now. This really sucks, but I am going to get through this, and I'm going to come out stronger, and I am going to also be able to share what I've learned and hopefully help other people too. So I'm feeling back in that mindset again, but really journaling and like coming to that conclusion is what helps me to feel that way. So I'm really glad that I took that time to do that, and just remembering how connected I feel to myself when I'm journaling more consistently, because I really feel like I'm on the same page with myself and I'm just checking in with myself in a really intimate way. So that really helps. So I've been doing a lot of that, and I've also really been prioritizing my sleep, because I've been realizing that like my mind can go to really dark places when I'm tired, and so that's been a major thing for me. It's just getting good sleep. Another thing that I've been doing is picking up a lot of extra hours with work, because for me right now it feels good to just stay busy so that I'm not just kind of sitting at home ruminating on things. And then also with that, it provides me with more money so that I can do more things that I like to do, or kind of just pour into myself in different ways. Honestly, even like getting my hair done, I really want to get my hair cut and add more layers. But I feel like that will make me feel better. Like I want to take care of myself emotionally and mentally and spiritually, but also like doing things physically really helps too. And even wearing clothes that I really like makes me feel better overall. So there's no harm for me right now in picking up extra hours and making more money. And I'm really just trying to pour into myself in every single way I can to just feel happy and healthy and vibrant and excited about life again too. And I'm going to end this in just a second, but I just wanted to add that really perspective is everything, and we truly have so much control over the way that we view things in our life. And I know it can feel really scary and really heavy at times, and we can feel really lost in that. But if you can just try to find a way to see outside of it, and just recognize that you've gotten through every other thing in your life up to this point, and that you are so capable, and you've most likely come out stronger, you know, from what you've experienced. So even if what you're experiencing feels new or scary, it's going to help you later on, because you're going to be like, well, I got through that, or now I know how to navigate a situation like that. So just keep going. Please, please, please keep going. Try to shift the perspective. Try to be like, okay, I'm going to prove to myself how strong I can be. And maybe you can help inspire other people in your life by, how you navigated through something. So we're all in this together. You are not alone. If you're dealing with anything mentally, you are not alone. I'm right there with you, but I also fully believe in our abilities to heal, to grow, and to get through things. So if you're on a journey of trying to return to healthy habits, of healing, of letting things go, of becoming a healthier and happier version of yourself, I am right there with you, okay? And I'm excited to kind of document this, because I feel like there's eras in my life or times in my life where I'm more focused on healing, and then times where I'm just like totally relaxed and hanging out and enjoying life. And I think that's normal. I don't think our identities should be revolved around this like healing loop, and that's something that, people can get stuck in, and that's not good either. But I do think there's also certain times where more things are coming up and you become more aware of like, okay, I'm not happy with how I'm operating right now, and I really want to work on this. So I'm kind of in that portion of my life again right now where I'm returning back to these healthy habits, and it feels really right, and I feel really optimistic right now and excited to be here and to be in this place. So I'm going to record more videos on me kind of getting back into those habits and implementing these things that I've been working on. I'll keep you guys updated on therapy, and I will make a more in-depth video about the medication. Because I feel like that's actually not as uncommon as maybe I thought initially. I think that there's a lot of stigma around a lot of these things. And I'm somebody who obviously wants to heal and go within, but I think that a lot of times we need help, and that is totally okay and normal. But anyways, you guys, you're not alone. I love you so, so much. I'm going to keep sharing this journey with you guys. So I appreciate you guys being here so much and supporting me. I love you. Please be kind to yourself, and I will see you guys again soon. Okay, bye.